Welcome to Board Game Breakfast. I'm Tom Vasel, your host. It's Tuesday, not Monday, when we normally do Board Game Breakfast, but we're glad you decided to come along for the ride anyway. If you're new for the first time, we normally do these on Mondays, but yesterday we had some time off thanks to our Autumn Spectacular. But we're back, and man, are we back. There's a lot of things to do. I've been recording like a madman, and I will continue to record. There are many videos coming your way this week. We'll talk about that later. But we do want to start out with something very positive, and that's you can win a copy of Roar and Write. Now, I don't have a copy yet to show you, but I saw this at Gen Con. Roar and Write. This is two copies that can be won for folks in the USA this time. All you have to do to enter this contest is to email us at contest@dicetower.com. In the subject line, put the word RAR, which is spelled as shown. I can never make my finger point the right way. Here. Got it. All right. Anyhow, and then you need to answer the question in the subject, how many translucent amber dice are included with Roar and Write? Now, like I said, I saw this one at Gen Con, and it is like Jurassic Park, in a sense, with the board game, but down to a roll and write game. A lot of cool things in this one. Looking forward to trying it out soon. All right. Also, in other news, Dice Tower Retreat. So this year we're having two Dice Tower Retreats. We had one recently here in Miami. We're having one in Orlando in November. Fortunately, thanks to the hotel messing a few things up, we got a bigger room, and I shouldn't say the hotel messed things up, but things out of control changed, and so we got a bigger room, so we can have a few more people come. So if you want to come to the Orlando retreat, that's coming up this November, the second week of November, you just need to email Sharon@dicetower.com, or if you the easiest way is just go to tabletop.events and search for Dice Tower Retreat Orlando, and you can come. This is going to be 5.5 days of straight gaming with the Dice Tower Library, which includes all the newest and hottest and greatest games that we have up to that point, which is going to be a lot of them, right? There are so many cool games. We are consistently adding new games, upgrading games, painting games, etc. Anyway, come out and join us. It's going to be fantastic, and it's at the beautiful Carib Resort in Orlando. Yeah, I was just there. Fantastic place, and I can't wait to see you all. But if you want to do that, we don't have a lot of tickets. You want to get on that soon. Also, Dice Tower East, which is at the same place but in a much bigger capacity, registration for that is opening up October 26th, which is not too far away according to my watch here, which I didn't unlock, and now I'm looking at it and moving through the dates. But yeah, I know that's true. And Dice Tower West, registration for that is open now. And just lots of cool things coming up. And the cruise, if you're going to come on a cruise, you need to decide now, because we're about to shut down registration for that in just a little over a week. So if you want to come on any of these events, we'd love to have you, and we're looking forward to that. But you might not be able to come on any of these events, and that's fantastic because you are here with me right now, live, together. I can see your comments. I can see Max and Chuck and James and, lots of you, Connie and all that. Welcome. Let's get started.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella from Meeple University and the Dice Tower.
I will say one of the things I enjoy about a two-player game is not having to choose the enemy, I suppose. It's something I've always been a bit of a Care Bear type player when it comes to games at 3 or more. But when it comes to 2 players, because you've only got the one opponent, I just find it more freeing.
I think that's because the 2-player means it's me. And that means that it's such a cutthroat and you just keep attacking me.
It's not that, it's just that I know that...
I know.
I like the shift when you get to a 2-player game and you know that a point for you is exactly the same as a point that the other player doesn't get.
Yeah.
So you don't get that in 3 or 4 players. No. Someone's got to take one for the team to stop a runaway, and you don't want it to be you. So it just adds all these layers of annoyance into it. You don't get it too.
Not all the game, but yes, I get what you mean about the king making. Like Munchkin, for example, is a simple case. If somebody's going to win, then you just attack that person, rather than if it's 2-player, then there's no other choices. Yep. And you attack me, not attack me in Cascadia.
Yeah, we played Cascadia yesterday, and on the last turn...
You stole my last salmon. That's 10 points.
Yep, I saw you needed a salmon for 10 points, and I took it, and there was no action I could have taken that would have given me 10 points. And I stand by it, and I will do that sort of thing much more aggressively at 2 players.
That's true.
And I feel good about it.
Now, do you do that as well to your partner or whoever you're playing to 2 players? And we are, again, Stella.
And Tarrant.
From Meeple University and the Dice Tower. See you next time.
City of Earlwood hasn't been as quite peaceful as expected before. Some sightings of a creature in the lagoon, and if that was not all, there have been some sightings of a giant wolf. Heroes may have to dig up some items and help out with maybe some undead. There may be more mysteries to unfold as the experts come in to help unfold the mysteries that await them in the horrified city of Earlwood. Assalamu alaikum. Horrified Story Mode is going to give you 10 missions with an overarching story, but the season 1 used only 3 of the monsters because I do intend to make a season 2 using the other 3 creatures as well as maybe some other creatures, but don't worry, I have made variants of these creatures, so you will be experiencing a different variety in each of these missions. So using the same miniatures and same creatures, you will be experiencing a different puzzle each time you're going to play the game, because you sometimes may be playing the brides of the mummy, sometimes instead of the wolfman you will be playing with the wolves which are coming from different sides of the city, or instead of the creature it might be a Jaws like creature who you have to make a boat and go after into the water and fight there, and in that way there will be other variety of the same creatures that you might be fighting in this story mode. So if that's something that interests you, get the file from the link below. Happy gaming!
All right, first of all, we need to say that Dice Tower East registration opens October 27th. But I don't feel too bad about it, because if you went on to October 26th, then you're prepared. It's better than me telling you a day late than it is telling you a day early. But yes, it's the 27th at noon Eastern Standard Time. So we'll see you then. Now, let's talk about games from 20 years ago, because I ran out of games from 30 years ago. So today we're talking about Devon. Now, the first time I heard about Devon, which some people involved with the Dice Tower says is a terrible name, but they're not right. But the first time I heard about Devon was in Games Magazine, and it won the Game of the Year award. And I thought, an abstract game winning Game of the Year makes no sense at all. And I've always held that that was a bad decision, and yet I love Devon. Devon is part of the GIF series, GIPF. And they're all cool abstract games. The designer also made a way for them to work together. No one does that. But of the series, Devon is, in my opinion, the second best, the best being Yinch. But Devon is a game that is really cool. First of all the pieces look like Oreo. I mean, if you see the box here, and you can't maybe see too closely, but there's white and black pieces there. And they look like Oreo cookies in a sense, or like cookies and cream ice cream. And you are either the white or the black pieces, and there are red pieces on the board, and you must always be attached to one of these red pieces. If you're not attached to a red piece in some way or form, then you can't move any longer, or you're dead, you're removed from the game. And you're just going to move a piece, the number of pieces that are on it. So if I move that black piece in the bottom left there, it would move 1 space in any direction, but it has to land on another piece. It only has 1 spot to go. But once I move it 1 onto that black that it's next to, now it moves 2. But again, it must move exactly 2. You can even land on top of red pieces and move them with you. Once you have a red piece on your stack, it keeps that stack alive. But remember, you have to be careful not to land anywhere where the other player can then land on top of its stack and take control of it. At the end of the game, which is when nobody can move anymore, there will be no possible moves left on the board, and it will happen. The board runs out of moves. You stack all your pieces on top of each other, and whoever has the higher stack wins. This game is very strategic, very fun, and it's I don't know. It's hard. There's like 2-3 rules. It's not very hard to explain, and I just think it's a fantastic game that still holds strong 20 years later. So that's what I thought. Let's keep going.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. Today we are taking a look at one of the first few worker placements that Tim forced me to play. I never did. I was a bit unsure. Looking at the box, it looked a bit nerve-wracking. But Pan Am!
Woo.
It soon became clear that my fears were unfounded.
They were unfounded. It's kind of got that sort of catch me if you can vibe if you've seen that film. And it's basically a worker placement game whereby you've got various sections that you can place your little engineers, little guys with little cogs on their feet, and you place them around and claim things like planes and countries and routes
Airports.
and airports, yeah. And you basically bid for the highest of that section. When you win that section, you can place those things on the board, and you've got a certain amount of little planes. They're like little sort of model planes, really nicely modelled. You've got 3 different sizes, and then you can upgrade to bigger sizes later on. Really nice worker placement where you're basically spreading across the board and trying to sell your routes to Pan Am as Pan Am kind of expands its empire. Yeah. It's a bit like a kind of cross between Ticket to Ride and No Other Game.
Yeah.
Well, any worker placement.
Claiming
game,
the routes is very Ticket to Ride.
Yeah. But it's a lovely little game. Works really well. Very simple. Plays well at 2 as well.
It does, yeah. For me, the theme is really good because I do like a good theme in a game, and it tells you the history of the Pan Am. Every round, there's like an event card that tells you what's happening in the world. So, like, the World War II is started. Oh, stocks are down.
Yeah, because there's a certain amount of stock trading in the game.
So it gives you the
well.
theme of what's going on in the current climate at the time.
Yeah,
which I do like.
Really neat little game. So we like this one a lot. We thoroughly recommend it. You check this one out, Pan Am. If you've not seen it, give it a try. Really good game. Check it out.
Check it out.
And enjoy the rest of your breakfast, people.
Yes.
See you on our channel.
Bye.
Hi, how are you doing? My name is Jana, and I like to look at board games from an environmentalist perspective. Today, I wanted to share with you a board game called Genotype. This is a worker placement game that is themed around the research science of Gregor Mendel, the father of modern-day genetics. This game I really liked for its unique and educational theme, for how much fun I had playing it, and also for the beautiful artwork and components. I gave it a really high overall rating on my channel. For eco-friendliness, it only got 2 stars out of 10. One of the stars is for the fact that there's no spot UV printing in this game. Spot UV has a plastic additive that is basically a microplastic. So board game boxes and board game pieces that have spot UV printing on them cannot go in the recycling system. The second star is because this game does not have a plastic box insert. Instead, it has a very simple, practical cardboard divider that works great. The plastic box inserts that we're used to seeing in our board games are actually not a recyclable plastic. 2 stars out of 10. That sounds pretty low, but that's actually pretty average. Some things that board game publishers could start doing that would be more eco-friendly is, reducing the amount of one-use plastic in the games by going with maybe a brown paper bag to ship board game components over plastic baggies, or including how to recycle information right on the box. The how to recycle logos are very helpful for consumers, letting them know what can be recycled and what can't. And before anyone starts typing that the board game industry is just a drop in the bucket, climate change is too big an issue for any of us to think that our impacts are too small. Thanks so much for watching this, guys. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.
All right, so let's talk about what's coming from the Dice Tower this week, which means I need to pull up the Dice Tower calendar here. But we are doing reviews. We're back to full bore on reviews, like I said. Here we go. I'm doing a small top 10 a little bit later this week where I talk about 7 games to get you in the mood for Las Vegas. But for when it comes to reviews, we'll be taking a look at Dinosaur World this week. Iki, Dog Lover, a little wordy. Picture Perfect. Brian is going to be doing another review of that. Graham's taking a look at For Glory. the Settlement. I know a lot of people are looking forward to Settlement. One in a Chameleon, The Rocketeer. So there's a lot of little games and things we're taking a look at. Also, starting tonight, I think. Yep, tonight. Each day we're going to repost one of the playthroughs that we did during the Autumn Spectacular as a separate video. Also, Violet and Ruby's stuff is going to be cut out, and you'll see that posted one a day, and that's starting tomorrow, I think. So we're going to be doing that over the next period of time. That way you don't have to go back and sift through the big, long Autumn Spectaculars. You can just see the different playthroughs by themselves as time goes by. So just keep an eye out for that. I also did a behind-the-scenes Autumn Spectacular thing, so you'll get a chance to see what that looks like. Kind of small little thing. And we're back to our normal shows: crowd surfing, board game breakfast, Shoots and Marbles, the championship of the entire world, the most important marble race in humanity's history, begins today at 3 o'clock. We're doing the first, what did I call it? The Autumn Roll 1. We're calling it 1 because there will be a 2. We'll be still doing this next year. Watch our marble races. Alrighty, so yes, and so I'm already looking in the comments and people are like, blah, 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 blah. You know, what about this game and what about that game? The fact of the matter is that we are sitting on hundreds of games. I'm not kidding. So the hot game you wanted us to review is not happening this week, probably. Probably not happening next week, maybe. We'll see. We're going to get through them as fast as we can. There's just too many to go through, but they're coming. All right, let's keep moving.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with my segment From the Page to the Table. I'm showing off the audio version of The Devil in the White City, because that's what I have here at home. This is by Eric Larson, and it focuses on a couple of different things. We start off with the story of the 1893 World's Fair, which took place in Chicago. So we have the tale of Daniel Burnham and his quest to have the perfect World's Fair. It's a story of from conception to its end and the things that go along with it as well. But a parallel storyline is about someone I'd never heard of before, and that gentleman is H.H. Holmes, one of our original serial killers here. So if you're a true crime fan, I highly recommend this book. It's deeply readable, wonderful to listen to. Probably a 5 out of 5 for me. But did you know that there's a game about H.H. Holmes, about his murder castle, which he actually had? This is a 2 to 6 player game, 15 to 20 minutes per player, ages 14 and up, and I'd probably stress that 14. In H.H. Holmes' Murder's Castle, you are acting as like an investigator of sorts. You could take on the role of a different variety of people, and you can try to capture or bring in H.H. Holmes. So you are exploring the murder castle. You're doing that kind of a la Betrayal at House on the Hill style, where you're putting tiles out along as you are going. But they were inspired by Devil in the White City, so I love it. Books and board games, and a direct correlation between a book coming to life as a board game. That is all for this week, friends. Happy breakfast.
So there was a bit of a kerfuffle, I heard, on the internet this week because someone said that live playthroughs of games are boring. So they are. Board gaming is not, people always ask me, wouldn't it be great if board gaming was a spectator sport, and it was on ESPN5 or whatever number we would have to get to before they start putting board games on. And yes, I know there's poker, and I've watched it, and it's super boring. But why isn't board gaming on these? And it's because inherently, board gaming isn't that fascinating to watch. And you know how I know this? Is because when I go to conventions and there are people playing board games, there are not crowds of people sitting around watching them, just because they would rather play one than watch one. Now you say, Tom, you're about to do a live playthrough in a bit, and you do playthroughs on the channel. Sure, and I get that. So I know in my head that playthroughs of games are inherently not that interesting to watch, so we go out of our way to be as interesting as possible. we often get negative feedback. They'll say you were being too goofy, too silly, too funny, too whatever. And sure, we know that, but it makes the game easier to watch. There are some people who love watching a straightforward game. Just watch the game be played. It's either super relaxing or it is just something that they're there to learn how to play the game. But the vast majority of people are watching games to be entertained. Now, some games are inherently entertaining. That's why party games do really well through live plays. That's why dexterity games might do really well through live plays. But for me, when we do a live play, I'm always sitting there thinking of what's the best angle. I might come up with a story behind it. Hey, we're doing a space game, so I'm a captain of a pilot of a ship. And I talk like that. But you know, I find that I often do that in real life too. Even if I'm playing a boring Euro game, I'll talk about some of the theme of what I'm doing, because to me, having a story, even in the most classical, boring Euro game that exists, I'll do it. It just helps me be more interested in it. Now, so everyone does playthroughs differently, and I'm not saying anyone is particularly better than or not. I don't know. I've watched a lot of playthroughs. I know what kind of playthroughs I like, and again, there's playthroughs that appeal to different people. So the ones that I like the best is the way we do it, which is why we do it. That's the way that the Dice Tower has always been. I do things the way that I would want to watch them. I make reviews the way that I want to watch reviews. So I do playthroughs the way that I would want to watch them, where we try to be as silly and goofy while also hopefully giving you a good thing basically here, you know, that you can see. Here, this is how the game is played. But also, we hope you have a good time. Now, when it comes to talking in the comments there, so like right now I can see the comments there. In fact, sometimes if I'm talking to you, I might get distracted because I see a comment where somebody, and I was just, Jess Frogger just did a smiley face, and now she did write something else there, something that she said that you likes having them on in the background and so on. So when we're doing anything live, there's different ways to do that. Some people like to completely communicate with the people who are live. I don't normally do that because you don't do that in any other live event. Like if I got up and we're doing like a comedy sketch on stage, we don't stop every 5 seconds to comments that are being hurled to you from the crowd. Sometimes that happens, but most of the time it doesn't. Now the crowd is still there. So if you say, well, if you're not going to communicate with the live people a ton, why do anything live? Well, there's a couple reasons. One, because the live people have a community. The people who watch live go back and forth. And the people who are doing it may not be responding to the stuff, but they can still see it. And it gives you a little bit of a buzz. It keeps you going. There's a reason people shout amen in churches and people clap at concerts and people cheer during a sports game. It's not just, I mean, sometimes it's just a reaction that comes out, but it also gives energy to the people who are doing it. I've done shows before where there's not a lot of laughter in them, you know, live shows, and it throws you off a bit. You know, we'll sit there and go, are the people enjoying it? We'll have people come up to us afterward and go, that was amazing. And we'll go, okay, great. But we didn't know it during the show. So when we do something live here, we can see the immediate feedback and, you know, it's posted there. But I feel that if I was constantly responding to everything, and you know, Loopy says Tom is watching us, and Chris Yee says ha ha, and Geek says it saves on uploading and editing, which is not true. I'll come back to that real quickly. Live stuff is twice as much work as doing it not live, unless you just turn on the cameras. When we do stuff live here in the Dice Tower, it is a lot more work than us editing and recording it ahead of time. But I digress. If I keep responding to those comments, I think it detracts from what I'm doing here. Yes, it makes those people pretty happy. Like, oh, they responded to me, wee. And I get that. But if you watch it later on, you're like, yeah, okay, you're responding to people. Get to the point of what you were talking about, Tom. Your Tom Thinks keeps getting interrupted because you keep looking over there at the comments. So, in one hand, I think stuff's much ado about nothing. I don't really care. You know, if you don't like live stuff, you don't watch it. You're probably not watching now, so it doesn't matter. If you do like live stuff, there's a plethora of it out there done in a plethora of different styles. We have a very distinct style that we do here, and I don't plan to change it. You know, where our style is, we're going to try to teach you the game, but also entertain you at the same time. Some people don't like the entertainment, and I get that, And for that, there are people who just give you the game. We will communicate with people in chat occasionally because we don't want to distract from the game too much. You might want us to communicate more. You might want us to communicate less. But the good news is with the internet, there's a style for everybody. There's all kinds of people out there who are doing live things in different ways. And probably most of them are better than we are here. But we're trying to do our best with this. We think that the Autumn Spectacular shows off a good chance of this. I've had some interesting conversations over the past few days about it. And I think inherently conversation about this stuff is interesting and fun. Either way, onwards and upwards. Come back for our live play in a bit. But before we do that, here's some more stuff.
All right, can we talk about Fort?
Fort? Sure.
Do you like Fort?
Fort? I mean, depends. Sometimes they smell.
Fort, F-O-R-T.
Oh, Fort. Yeah. What's so hard? Is this going to be like a Yanny Laurel thing? Remember that?
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Fort by Leader Games.
So I'm assuming you're making like a big defense on the smelliest of forts. Right? Got that right. That's what it says here in the back of the box. Wait. Pizza? Toys? Fort markers? I mean, I could see how this would appeal to the little kids, but... I mean, honestly, if you told me Fort, I probably wouldn't laugh. Try it.
Fort.
You said Fort.
Can you grow up a little for this review?
I mean...
No.
I better... I think we've hit a comedic low.
You think so? Why?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're talking about forts.
How long is Fort?
I don't know. As long as you can hold it. Man, I can't really hold it too long. I can't hold it at all, actually. I can't reach.
So how many players can play Fort?
68 kids. Says in the box, 68 kid carts. So I assume 68 kids can play. That makes sense.
How old are these kids?
I don't know. 14. So in conclusion, this game is about forts and forts. How many times have I said fort already? It also kind of stinks. I mean, like, the gameplay is great. But I mean, like... Unless it's... Did you fort?
You'll notice that I often, on my other things to review, will review Marvel stuff. Oh, put the hat back on. And I've been going through all the different Marvel series and movies, and so last week they finished the What If television series. And the What If television series is a series of Marvel cartoons, animated shows that are based on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what they change something. And so each episode, except for the last two episodes were a two-parter. So each episode is a self-contained episode, probably, in which they'll say, what if, so for example, what if Jane had gotten the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers, and then she became Captain America. So that's like Jane, Peggy Carter, got it. So we have Captain Carter instead of Captain America. And so each one is, what if such and such a thing happened? And so what happens is they show it to you in a very quick time. This is based on the comic books. I love the What If comic books. They do the same thing. There's been well over 100 of them in the Marvel Universe as time goes by in the comics, and I like them because there's no holds barred in them. They can do whatever they want. They can kill any character, do anything. It doesn't change anything because it's just a what if story. And it also solves a question where you'll say, what if this had happened instead of that? Well, here they show you something that might have happened with a big otherworldly person who is just the Watcher. That's what they're called, the Watcher, and they watch everything. So it's very interesting in that regard. So each of these episodes, each of the episodes that's played, some of them were action-packed, some of them were very serious, and one was very, very dark. One was the opposite of dark, just insanely comedic to the point where I did not like it that much. I believe it was the third to the last one, where what if Loki had not been in Thor's life. That one I found to be meh because I thought it was too over the top and too comedic. However, the last 2 episodes, and this is the slightest of spoilers, but I mean, I can't get around it. But if you don't, skip ahead. You done? Okay. The last 2 episodes tied the whole series together in a fantastic way, in such an amazing way that I would give this a 10 out of 10. I would not have given it a 10 out of 10 as I was watching each of the episodes, but the last 2 episodes made the rest of the episodes better. It made the darker ones less dark. It made the comedic ones less comedic. It made the ones without hope a little more hopeful. And how did it do that? Well, in a way that I didn't think was too unobvious, but I just had a blast with it. It was such a great thing. It was a little sliver of the excitement I felt during Avengers Endgame. I felt during the final 2 things of What If. It was just that cool. And I think the animation style is good. They got most of the original voice artists back. In fact, you know, when you hear some of the voices, it's a little chilling, you know, to hear that, because it's like, wow, they got the actual people. And especially with the actor who played Black Panther, who passed away, this is like the last thing he did. And so it's really neat to see that. I really like the episodes. I think some are better than others. But I think overall, when you put the whole thing together as a series, this is my favorite of the 4 Marvel TV series. It really is. There's a lot of people complain about that they were too fast. I don't care. Action-packed, fast, get it done. I don't need to have the whole story all over again. We just say, what if, and then see the reactions and things to that. It's really fun. I watched it with my family. We all had a blast. We all laughed. We all kind of like, you know, gasped together. It's really neat. I know it's a cartoon, and not everyone likes cartoons, but I really highly recommend it. It's fantastic.
Hey everyone, today on the Plastic Canvas we're turning the Scourge Beast from Bloodborne from this into this in just 2 minutes. Hey everyone, Matt here from the Plastic Canvas, and today on 2 Minute Mini we are painting the Scourge Beast from Bloodborne. Now I absolutely love painting minis like this that are really highly textured, so lots of hair or fur or something like that, because I found a really quick and simple way of painting these that lets you completely skip the whole highlighting and shading process, and that is by using washes over a zenithal prime or a zenithal undercoat. So when I primed the Scourge Beast, I hit them with black all over, and then grey from a fairly high angle, and then white from directly above. And then to base coat them, I then just used different mixes of washes. And because the washes are so thin, what happens is that all of those different tones of that zenithal prime or undercoat are allowed to come through. So anywhere that the washes go down over the white prime, it's going to appear much lighter than anywhere it goes down over the black prime, which will be very dark and appear as though it's in shadow. And so just within the base coating step, you get your highlighting and shading done as well. Because if you are going to try and individually pick out all of those hairs or furs or whatever to try and highlight and vary your tones so that the upper parts look brighter than the lower parts, that would just be really difficult to do and very time consuming. Whereas these guys were super quick to paint. But if you would like to check out the full version of this video where I go through each of these steps in greater detail, just head over to my channel, The Plastic Canvas, and I hope you enjoy your breakfast.
Hello, my name's Dan, this is Cora, and we're here today to talk to you about family games that you might want to play with your family, mainly. And today we're going to talk to you about this game. What is it, Cora?
Temple Rush.
Temple Rush.
Temple Rush is a competitive game for 2 to 4 players by Jacob Berg. However, you can also play it solo. In the game, you are rolling dice to collect building blocks that look like Lego, and then using those blocks to build temples as shown on cards. Each temple scores you a certain amount of points, and the person with the most points after all the structures have been built is the winner.
So, what do you think about Temple Rush?
I like just how it's just putting blocks together and it's quite like, you're not rushing and it's not frustrating, is it?
No, it's quite pleasant. It's quite pleasurable. And it's always nice building things, I think.
Yeah.
That's why I
You like Lego, don't you?
I do like Lego. I've got a lot of Lego. It's true. But this isn't Lego, Cora.
No.
It's blocks. It says here bricks. It says here clearly it's bricks, not Lego. Bricks.
Not Lego bricks.
So, did you think it was easy or did you think it was difficult?
I think it was on sort of like the medium side.
Okay.
But it's not too hard and it's not too easy, so it's a very mid-ground, enjoyable game.
Yeah, I think a lot of people could play this. I think you can play this. And the fact it's not a speed game or anything like that where you have to... If there's a card, then the next card you pull out is a speed round, but that's like 1 round per game. Yeah. So it's good for all ages, really.
I wasn't very good at the speed round.
No. And what did you think about the pieces? Were the pieces good quality?
Yeah, sometimes they were a little bit hard to stick together, but they were very good.
Yeah. So some of the bricks, they're not quite Lego quality, these bricks. Sometimes it is a bit tricky the kind of tolerances are a bit off and things like that. But on the whole...
Sometimes you have to just really push it, but most of the time it's just bonk.
Yeah, most bonk. I'm not sure why it's a temple, Rush. Why is it a temple? I think they should rename it Build Things Out of Lego That's Not Really Lego. What do you think they should rename it?
That sounds good.
Yeah. So Temple Rush or Build Things Out of Lego That's Not Really Lego is a really good game. And we really enjoy it. And we give it 2 thumbs up.
Alrighty, well, how can you not be happy after seeing Dan and Cora? Folks, we'll be back in about an hour with a live play of Perpetuity, so we'll see you then. And then Shoots and Marbles at 3 o'clock. I did not just knock something off the shelf. Don't worry about it! Cut to the credits!
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.